Well, hey, Beth, it's Jamie. That's me here. Welcome back to my channel. Listen, let's go ahead and talk about family or fiance. All right, y'all. We are introduced to a couple named Shay and Will. Okay. Will says that when he met Shay, Shay was like the most beautiful woman that he ever met. Was she? Was she, Will? Was she? Anyway, okay. He said that she said they were in a staff meeting. They were working together at one point. He said while in the staff meeting, he just could not keep his eyes off her. He thought she was so beautiful. Then he just went and said, listen, I got a confession, and I just want to let you know that I really like you, whatever, you're attractive. And they just pretty much hit it off, and that's kind of how the relationship got started. Now his family is not as accepting of her or their relationship. They are pretty judgmental. Okay. And we ended up finding out why. All right. Now, they're saying that if the family does not accept the blessing, that's fine. They still gonna get married. Either way it go. All right. So I'm like, well, why y'all here in a sense? But I guess they just want to make the relationship better. They want to put an effort in. They want to try. If it don't work out, it ain't gonna matter because they still gonna be married, and y'all gonna have to deal with it either way it go. Now they're gonna have to sit down with Tracy. I'm not sure. I think Tracy a doctor. I'm not sure, but they're going to sit down with Tracy. We learned that in age they are about 12 to 13 years apart. Okay. Now this is why the family was very judgmental and they're not really fond of the relationship, because Will was married. He was married at the time that he got with Shay. And then he tried to play it up to Dr. Tracy by saying, oh, I was going through a divorce, and kids were involved and stuff. And Shay had to step in and correct, right? Shay had to say, well, when I met you, you were married. You were not actively, you were not legally divorced. You were not actively looking to get divorced at the time or something like that. And I had to find that information out. So right there from the gate lets me know that Will likes to give information, but withhold at the same time. Okay, so Will is somebody that y'all need to watch, because he even sitting up there with Dr. Tracy and he's trying to smooth over the situation like I was going through a divorce. And Shay like, no, that's not the case. You were legally married and you were not going through a divorce at the time. Okay, you weren't happy, but you also weren't filing either. So that right there lets me know, girl, keep your good eye on Will, because some right there ain't right. And another thing I learned about Will while watching the show, Will is very charismatic. And he has a pretty great personality. He's a people's person, which are all of the things that one can have just to manipulate a person to get them to be how they want them to be, or to manipulate them to believe a story that they're selling them at the time. So he's a good salesman. So what's the other thing that we learned? All right. She said she has a great relationship with his kids, and she talked about how the kids have told her that they love her. This is what I did not capture, and I could be wrong. If anybody watched the show, let me know if I overlooked this. I did not capture how long they had been together. That's the part that I did not capture. I do not know how long they have been in this relationship. Okay. Now, when it comes to Shay, her mom, her sister, and her best friend will be coming to the location with her. Okay, they'll be coming in support of her. When it comes to Will, his dad, his mom, and his brother will be coming in support. Okay, now Tracy gives them the assignments that they'll be doing throughout the day, where one will go off with the family and do an activity in order for them to get to know each other, and vice versa. Okay, now when it came down to Will, he had to go and cook with the family. Will ain't tripping because he made it in good with the family. Now mind you, the family are women. I do not know how the men, and I wish he would have brought a man on this trip to decipher Will's personality for real. It makes me think about Ready to Love, right? With Liz and David. I'm sure David would have been able to charm any woman. But her homeboy, the first dude, I can't think of his name, when he came in, he was able to sift through the BS that David was out here giving. And I wish that she would have had a male to come in, because obviously Will is really good with the ladies. He knows how to say things. He knows what to do, all of that. Not saying Will is a bad guy. He may be a good guy, but he got some badass ways, and I don't care what nobody say. Okay. So, yeah, I'm wishing she would have brought some males along on this trip so that we could get their perspective of what they see in Will, and been able to ask some really hard questions like Shay was getting from the family. But obviously, Shay's family has been open and welcoming of Will, so he felt very comfortable with them, whereas Shay didn't. And we'll talk about that. So once Will's family arrives, Shay shuts down. She goes to the door. She didn't even want to go to the door to see who was at the door. She had a feeling it was his family, right? It was his family. His mom opened up, gave him a hug. Shay was standing right behind them. I feel like he tells Shay things as well. It's not so much as how the family may act towards her when she's around, but I feel like Will also tells Shay the things that his family has said about her, which makes it even more awkward for her to even try to embrace them. But I do think that it was rude for her to not even say, how y'all doing? You know, she didn't say anything. She just smiled. She felt so awkward. She tensed up. She shut down. But I also think it was rude for the mother to enter the home and not even say, hey, Shay, how you doing? She didn't give her nothing, but you can go in a confessional and feel a way that Shay didn't speak to you either. So I feel like y'all both were wrong, in my opinion. Somebody need to woman up. Okay. What else did we have? So once her family arrived, they're more welcoming to Will. Will hugged everybody. Okay. Nice. Okay. Will know, obviously, like I said, I think Will is good with the ladies. He knows what to do. He had so much fun with her family that he even left his damn family downstairs. Shay family come downstairs. They see his family, didn't even speak, honey, and went right out the door. But see, they're taking on the issues of Shay. And I understand that. But y'all two should also get y'all experience for yourself, because then maybe y'all would, from y'all two conversing, y'all would learn that Will could potentially be the problem. Okay, but they're just merely going off of what she has told them. They didn't even extend to how y'all doing as they went out the door, honey. They looked at them people and ran right on out the door. I was like, ooh, okay, I understand. You gotta have your family back, but ain't nothing wrong with being logical and sensible, honey. So, Will family feels away. They feel like he has shut them out and he's ran outside to go and hang out with Shay and her family. They like, that's not what you do. Okay. So they were definitely in the feelings. Primarily his mom was in her feelings. Okay. The mama was more so in her feelings than anybody. And it's like you don't even really position yourself to be accepting of others, I guess, or welcoming yourself, but you want others to embrace you. Like, I don't know, she got to work on that too. So they have a family meeting and they want to know about the concerns. His brother says that his concern is that Will allows them to get to know her. So I guess Will did not allow them to get to know her. I feel like it was because he probably was trying to protect her. And also, I'm wondering if it would have been that she would have learned more information about him and he's not ready for that to be told, or what that was, or if he's still feeling guilty knowing that he was in a marriage with children and decided to leave that marriage to go be with another woman with no kids and whatever else. Okay, so that's what I'm wondering as to why he isn't, because I feel like he is still to fault that, you know, the family are not connecting with her. But again, at a separate time, we learned that when he tried to bring Shay around, the mama didn't want her around, so the mama like made that situation awkward. But the mama also did not know she was coming. So clearly, Will does not know how to communicate or handle situations appropriately. So how you gonna invite your mama out to eat and then just spring this girl on her instead of giving your mama a heads up that she's gonna come, knowing your mama already wasn't at a place where she was ready to meet her. So now you're trying to force Shay onto your family, which makes it even more uncomfortable. Okay. Which also could have been the case with your kids, because we learned that the kids, the grandma said at a later time, and I'm sure I'm probably going to repeat it. The grandmother said at a later time that one of the kids was like, they didn't like her. But then also at a later time, so she said it the first time, like one of the kids said they didn't like you. And then here it is at a separate time, the child, you're telling us at the table, the child said that he doesn't want to be forced to like her. Which one is it? Either he doesn't like her or he doesn't know her and doesn't want to be forced to have to like her in the city. Like, which one was it? You know what I'm saying? But it does make me think that he could have potentially been forcing Shay onto his kids as well, the same way he was forcing her onto the family too. But that's okay. What else do we have? His mom says that marriage is a long lifetime commitment. She wants a woman that is going to be committed to his children. And I'm like, how you don't know that she's committed to the children if the children is up there telling her that they love her? Somebody's not, I guess Will isn't being a good liaison. And if he steps back and allow them to communicate, maybe they'll learn more. So for me, Will is the problem. Okay. Will is a problem. The dad says that he don't know her or her family, and that's his concern. He wants to be able to know both. When it comes to her best friend, she says Will is standing up for her and making room for her to get to know her sister. I don't even know what I just wrote. I guess the main thing from the best friend is, even though he's stepping up for her and making room, she just wants to make sure that her best friend is being accepted by his family. And when I look at it, that's pretty much what everybody wants. The mama and her sister. Primarily, the sister wants the mama because she feel like the mama is the issue. She wants his mama to be more accepting of her because the mama is having a hard time letting go of the past and letting go of the fact that like she has a relationship with his ex-wife. That's the mother of her grandkids. Okay. And she's a woman that's been in a marriage for 40 some years. So she already doesn't agree with his decision right off the bat because she feels like if she could weather the storm with his dad, he could have did the same thing with his wife. Okay. So I think that's the issue that she's having primarily, is letting go of her vision of how she see marriage. And there's nothing wrong with that, but her letting go of her vision of how she see marriage, in addition to how he went about doing it, you know. So that's that. Let's get to Shay's Shay family or whatever. Shay and his family. So she's pulling these blocks, and each block has like, it's like Jenga. I think it's Jenga. So each block has like a question that she has to answer, right? So the question was asked about how is she with his kids. She said she already has a great relationship with the kids. The grandmother says, well, were you aware that little Will said he doesn't like you? And Shay says, no, I wasn't. And the mother just sits back and says, okay. And then Shay goes to the next question. I feel like she was so uncomfortable. I wish she would have said, no, that's something new for me. I didn't know that, because when he's with me, it's this, is that. When did he say that? Because I don't want him to feel that way. You know what I'm saying? I wish she would have leaned into that question a bit more, but she wasn't. She had a wall up, and she wasn't really ready to open up to them about anything. She didn't even want to do the challenge. Okay. I wish she would have opened up a little more. All right. What else happened? Yeah, Shay wants kids of her own, but she also, I believe that's what one of the questions was, like, what would you do if Will can't give you kids? And of course she wants kids of her own. She said, that's fine, we'll adopt. And then the brother was like, so you don't want kids of your own? She was like, yeah, I do, and that's what we're working on. And I'm like, I am so confused, bitch. Okay. Talking about that's what we're working on, but then also saying that's fine, we'll adopt. So I feel like a lot of the questions she left like they weren't open-ended, okay, on her end. She didn't leave room really for discussion. It was just like a quick answer. Let's move on because I'm trying to be over with this. What was the next thing? I forgot. Oh, they asked her what was the deal breaker. She said faithfulness and not having a relationship with his family. I said, Shay, why is you up here lying? Faithfulness? What you mean faithfulness when you was with a man that was married? He wasn't faithful to her. He wasn't faithful with his damn kids, that he stepped outside of that situation to go and be with your clown ass. Talking about some faithfulness. Girl, the same way you got him, going to be the same way your ass going to lose him. So what do you mean faithfulness? And then talking about the relationship with his family. Girl, you just said what? 2 lies and no truth. That's what you gave us. 2 lies and no truth at all, because you sitting right here and you ain't even trying to forge a relationship with them. You ain't even trying to open up more so they can see your side of things or see how you are with these kids or get your experience so far in this situation. You know, so I'm just like, Shay, girl, you full of it. Will's mom is saying that she's still stuck on his ex-wife. She still sees her as her daughter-in-law. His mom didn't approve of the relationship from the jump because he was already married. Shay says, I know, but he didn't want to be married. And his mom said that she was like, no, she said, I didn't know he was married in the beginning. His mama said, so, but you found out, right? She was like, yeah, you found out. She was like, well, when you found out, why didn't you end the relationship? And she said, because I knew that he didn't want to be in that relationship, you know? And I'm like, girl, you sound dumb as fuck. Shay is so pretty and so stupid. Like, I don't know what the hell. I don't understand. Shay says that his mom said something about he didn't want to be in that relationship. And I'm like, you sure? I said, no, she said, you sure? Why do you think he didn't tell you? You had to find out that this man was married. Like, are you sure? So he asked her questions and she was like, yeah, I'm sure. They weren't even living together. And the mama said, you really think they wasn't living together? They were. Shay is sitting up here telling this lady, no, they weren't. And I'm like, you do know this mama has been around longer than you have, and you do know that this mama has been privy to the marriage and has a great relationship with his ex-wife. You do know that, right? But you're gonna sit up here and tell her information as though she wrong. And I'm sorry, I believe the mama. If he sat up there and he had that, like, what else is he hiding? And so for me, I really didn't like how she was pushing back with the mom instead of at least seeing what the mom was saying. So Shay is giving me, she is so blinded in love. That's where she's so blinded in love and what she think is supposed to look like. And it's gonna be a rude ass awakening for her once she gets in this marriage. And it's gonna be completely opposite of what the fuck she thought it was supposed to look. And she's gonna find herself in the same situation as the first wife. And hopefully she'll get out of it without having a baby. But those are just my thoughts. Y'all leave y'all's down below. Okay, now when they get to dinner, that night, and Shay brings up to the family about not being ready to meet her and was forced, because that's what the mama said when they were playing the jingle question game. And she said, I didn't like that. Like, I didn't even know you. I didn't like that he was forcing me to meet you at that time. Like, that's not cool. So then Will says that, well, the reason I did that, he go with his play on words, trying to make it make sense, and it's going over the ladies' heads. And I'm like, why y'all ain't bring no dude? Okay, so he says, I mean, I just thought that they would see the brightness of my future with Shay and not my past. What kind of fucking shit is that? I thought they would see the brightness of my future with Shay. How can they not see your past, you dummy, when you've been up here with this wife this whole time and you got kids with her? And she has a strong stitch within the family. I don't know what the hell he was trying to get across, but everybody else at the table seemed like they was just eating it up. All right. The mama brings up how she was concerned about the relationship with Shay and the grandchild. He goes on to say that his son is manipulative. Baby, this man said his son is manipulative and knows how to play the game and doesn't really like rules because Shay was putting out rules. Some about that didn't sit well with me. Now, I do believe that children are good at finessing and getting their way at times. But I don't know, something about hearing him call his child manipulative pissed me off a little bit, because I felt like, nigga, you're manipulative. So if your child is manipulative, they got it from you. So what are you talking about? And if they are finessers, why couldn't what he said be truth at that particular moment? For you to just deduce it down to, oh, he was manipulative. What if your child really did say that? What if your child really did tell the grandma that they don't like her, but they save face to please you in your face? Like, did you ever consider that? Like, I don't know. It was something about it that I didn't like it. What else? Oh, Shay goes on to talk about how she didn't like that the family was prying into her business. Like, what did you have before you got with him? She had to tell them, like, you know, I had a house, I had a job, I had this, I had that. Like, I had it going on before I met your son. Don't think that I got married to him thinking that, you know, it was going to be a come up for me. Okay, so she didn't like that question. The brother brings up kids, right? The brother says that he asked her about kids and that Shay would have been okay with not having kids. She would just adopt. And so he says that his brother had a vasectomy. So her side of the family got really upset when he brought this out and said, you don't have to worry about that. You acting like she's sleeping with you and this and that, because he said some women right now, they'll be like, oh yeah, it's okay if we can't have kids. But then as life progresses, they change and they may potentially switch up. I don't see anything wrong with what he was saying. I feel like he actually had a point. That is how it goes. But the sisters, I also kind of saw their point a little bit, the sister, the family, but I just felt like they were so aggressive about it. You know, like, you don't know that. You don't know what's going to happen. How are you going to speak to that? You ain't even having sex with her. And then I was like, yikes. Like, it was just a lot going on. But I ain't understand why they was really going so hard at him, because I really didn't think that he said anything that was really wrong. All right. So then Will talks about how his wife saved his life. All right. His mom feels unconvinced, in my opinion. She says that she's heard him say it all before, all of his lies, okay, about the previous woman. So her mom tried to jump in to the conversation. Shay's mom tried to jump in. His mama said, wait a minute, boo. Okay. I'm over here trying to have a conversation with him. I let you talk, girl. Let me say my piece. And Shay's mama said, well, I'm just telling you. She said, and I'm just telling you too, girl. My name really made plural. Okay. Hear what I say. Okay. And I'm going to speak my piece, girl. You're not going to shit me up. I was like, oh God. And the mama, of course, spoke her piece. She felt as though he loves building up and bigging up the women he's with. And he feels like no woman should be like bigger than him in his eyes or something like that. And so, you know, they had their exchange of words. His mom says, no, I didn't speak when you was talking. I said all that. She also says that he should not build up a woman bigger than who he is, because without her, he's still gonna be himself. And she does have a point about that. But your son still ain't shit, so it's just what it is. It don't matter who he bigging up, girl. Let's move on. What else? Oh, Annie was upset about that meeting, which was his mama, and she talked about how they were bottom feeders and stuff like that. And I'm like, well, girl, what the fuck is your son? Okay, because you got a lot of energy for this woman choosing to be with your son, but I need to see some of this energy for your son who chose to leave his marriage. That's who you need to put some of that over there too. Okay, not just all on her because she chose to accept his offer to be his lady, but he was the one that knew he was in the situation. So you need to send some of that energy over there to your son. Okay. Now, meeting with Tracy, Shay was insulted by the questions that were being asked of her, and then she started to cry and be emotional, okay? And what we also learned in that meeting with Tracy is that even though he had a vasectomy, he also put some of his sperm to the side. So should he meet somebody and they want to have more kids, he could do that. Some part of me feel like I don't believe that. Y'all let me know. That's the whole point of you having a vasectomy, ain't it? So that you cannot have more kids. So then you just put some to the side just in case your mind change. I guess that makes sense. Maybe he did, or maybe he was going to be out here smashing these different ladies and just felt like he didn't want to just randomly get somebody pregnant. But if he and his wife chose to have another child, he'll have that sperm. Or if he and another lady, i.e. Shay, chose to have another child, he'll have that sperm. Some part of that didn't really make sense a little bit to me, okay? But I don't be going out here having, you know, being around people that want vasectomies. That's how I don't really know about that. But it sounds possible, but it still sounds fishy, because I thought men go and have vasectomy so that they cannot have more children. Okay, that's what they don't want. So why would you save any sperm? But I could be wrong, honey. But okay. Now let's go ahead and move on. Mom, dad, and Will. So he sits down with his parents to talk to them, you know, let them know how much he appreciates them and who they've been. He feels like he can open up more, and he decides to open up to let them know more about Shay. And this is what they learned. He had a business that was about to go under, and Shay gave him $100,000 towards that business. She had that in her savings. She had a little over $100,000. She cleared her account for him, and they did not know that, right? I'm not saying that a black woman cannot have $100,000 in her account, but I do feel like he could be over exaggerating a little bit. Okay, like really, she gave you $100,000 to save your business, and you got a whole nother wife, and like I don't know, something about that didn't sound right either. But maybe she did give it to him, and he felt as though it was in that moment he realized that's the woman that he needed to be with because she had his back. So that makes me feel like when Shay ain't got the money to constantly pick up your motherfucking slack, you probably gonna be dipping out and trying to find the next person. Like that's what it's giving me. Y'all let me know now, because it could be me, but that's what it's giving me, honey. Okay. What else? Shay goes to link up with his mom. They go out to do like some flowers and stuff like that, and she ended up apologizing for her actions that night. This is what Shay is doing and how things went. So the mom also goes on to apologize to her as well, and says that she's going to stop comparing her and leaving things in the past as far as the ex and stuff, and she's going to work on forging a new relationship with Shay moving forward. When Shay began to cry, it made the mother feel for her, and the mother too began to cry, and based on those tears, they were able to bond a little bit, and they're going to move forward the best way they can. Okay, once they get to the dinner table, everybody pretty much apologizes to each other for their actions. Now once they get to therapy, Will feels that he has dropped the ball on making sure his family got to know her, so his plan is to do better in that department. When it comes down to the blessings, every single person sitting up there gave them their blessing. So all is well. They're now planning the wedding. The mother is also helping them plan the wedding. It's going to be on a yacht, and they're also saying that they have regular meetups with the family, you know, on a weekly basis. Whether that's true, I don't know, because Will has said a lot of things that was questionable throughout this thing, and Shay ain't wrapped too tight either. But those are just my thoughts. Y'all leave y'all thoughts and comments down below. That's all I got. I'm Jamie, that's me. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, share my videos, follow me on Instagram and Twitter, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.